Pittsburgh. The industrial age, the steel mills are long gone. A new industry has established itself. Here, robots are being designed. This one named Chimp is testing its limbs on its own. Soon, battalions of them, connected via internet, could perform rescue missions in disaster zones.
I think it's going to run through the lift joints momentarily. We are still a long ways away from a robot having a complete understanding of the world, of cause and effect, of desires and hopes and dreams. And those are the things that still make humans human and robots on a much lesser scale. Well, you could think of this scenario almost as robot dreaming. This is, a robot conceptualizing what is going to happen in the future and thinking about different scenarios. And for any of these motions, it's considering thousands and thousands of scenarios per second that might happen. Especially when you get to the point of robots exchanging information with one another, then you might have a robot dreaming about places it hasn't even been. This is the chimp view of the world now using a high-resolution laser scanner, and it has to really build up its learning of what's going on in the environment. In this case, it's a valve that it's trying to turn, and we see the pre-planning. This is like the robot imagination of what's going to happen, where the gripper is going to be, how it's going to come into that valve, and how it can manipulate it.
It could have opened the valve in Fukushima and preventing an explosion.
That was one of the key things that spurred this research, realizing that it was too dangerous for humans to go in. But if you could have had a robot go in and just do some simple things, straightforward things that humans were unable to do, open valves to change the cooling flow patterns, maybe turn on pumps again, that would have made all the difference in preventing the hydrogen buildup and the subsequent explosion.
How valuable is the cockroach for you?
I think any insect is amazingly advanced compared to the state-of-the-art robots right now. If you think about a cockroach, the fact that it can scurry around on the floor, it can avoid dangers, it can find food for itself, it can reproduce, and it can live for several years on its own, robots are nowhere near that point yet. And I think it'll be great when we have even as much capability as a cockroach.
I can not only imagine artificial intelligence evolving spontaneously on the internet, but I can't tell you that it hasn't happened already. Because it wouldn't necessarily reveal itself to us.
I think that the biggest risk is not that the AI will develop a will of its own, but rather that it will follow the will of people that establish its utility function or its optimization function. And that optimization function, if it is not well thought out, I mean, even if it's if its intent is benign, it could have quite a bad outcome. For example, if you were a hedge fund or private equity fund, and you said, well, all I want my AI to do is maximize the value of my portfolio, then the AI could decide, well, the best way to do that is to short consumer stocks, go long defense stocks, and start a war. And that would also be quite bad.
Such an attack would be much more prosaic than an invasion of these aliens in the SpaceX reception area.
I think we're going to get to the point where almost everything we do will be done by machines. And we'll still need people, but I mean, if you ask the question about will there ever be a artificial intelligent machine that makes movies? Absolutely yes. Will it be quite as good as yours? No one can even come close.
Of course not.
But actually, I think almost everything we do, we find machines doing better. And the reason why that's the case is because machines just learn faster than people can learn.
But they cannot fall in love as we can.
And will it be useful for machines to fall in love? Will we want to have machines that are just like people? I would say no. Honestly, if my dishwasher came to me and said, look, I'm falling in love with your refrigerator, and as a result, I have no time to wash your dishes, I wouldn't like that dishwasher.
We're going to have a revolution not only in our technology, but in our theology. We don't even have a name for it, but it's around the internet, it's around connectivity, it's around building machines that think for us. And I think we're due for another shift in our morals, in our definition of what it means to be human. We're right just at the beginning of that. And so you can see us trying to kind of feel out and invent this new society and invent these new ideas of what's right and wrong. What can we depend on each other for? Can we expect from each other? How much do we want to do that? So I think it's an incredibly creative time in human history, not just technologically, but also morally and culturally.